perhaps India has also acceded to Chinese request in the eastern sector, especially in Yangtze waterfall area. Remember in 2022, so there were skirmishes in Yangtze sector also. Yeah. The Chinese, though not been acknowledged in the official discourse, but then off the record, so they are saying that yes, one Yangtze waterfall areas and another would be the upper Swansea area where perhaps the Chinese would have scored some of the points.
For the latest in strategic affairs, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell icon for updates.
Welcome to the Gist on Strat News Global. Hello and welcome. I'm Surya Gangadharan and you're watching another edition of the Gist. Our guest today is Professor B R Deepak. He teaches and researches on Chinese language, civilization and culture at Jawaharlal Nehru University. And he just returned from a visit to China where he interacted with various academics and also, interesting from our point of view, addressed the Communist Party school, which comprises the leadership of the Chinese Communist Party. Professor Deepak, welcome. Glad to have you.
Yeah, pleasure, Surya.
Deepak, Communist Party school, exactly what does it do? Is it a training school? What is it?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, initially it used to impart training to the cadres. You see, Communist Party has almost 98 millions of cadres at various levels, and then it comes to the party congress, which has more than 2,000 delegates, and then of course the central committee, the politburo. So that is the hierarchy, and party school is the training place for all these cadres. But of late, it has also been thrown open to various countries, especially the Belt and Road countries where China has massive investments. So leaders, academicians, and various other stakeholders, including entrepreneurs, so they are invited to party school to have you can say training in development models or various other issues of governance.
Mm-hmm. So when people like you, outsiders, foreigners, are invited to address the party school, are they looking at people who with similar, is there any limit on what you can say, what you can speak, the views you express?
I mean, I was invited there to attend a conference. It was a conference on India-China relations and focusing on the civilizational dialogue. Since, my expertise is also into Chinese civilization. So perhaps that was one of the reasons why I was invited. I think as far as the freedom of speech and other things are concerned, if it is related to language, culture, literature, civilization, I think there are not many divergences, and of course there could be different perspectives of looking at civilizational issues or the interconnectedness. But then, as such, I think you are, airing your ideas quite freely. But I think what is important is that off the record, various things goes, and where you can talk about, differences and other issues which perhaps would be difficult to brought out in the course of discussion during the conference.
So, what did you speak to them about?
I especially see the last 2 months engagement. One was party school, and recently it was in Peking University and Tsinghua University, and also in Hainan University. In party school, I primarily spoke about India-China civilizational interactions. How both were interconnected in the past, and the kind of you can say interaction, whether it is at the people level or maybe the transfer of technologies, including sugar making from India to China, and then vice versa, and various other technologies from China traveling to India. So primarily, the approach was that both India and China, they should be taking some cues from our interactions in the past, so that maybe a better understanding is developed between the two, especially when there is a lot of you can say apprehensions and miscommunications, misperception between the people of both sides.
Mm-hmm. So in the current context, given the fact that we have done an agreement with them on disengagement along the line of actual control, what is the sense you're getting from there?
Sense, of course, if you see the media, official media, then of course they are very, very positive about it, and they have acknowledged that it is a good start for both the countries. But then also, if you see the social media, so there are various different perspectives being aired, and one of the perspective which is very, very prominent is that it was India who started to encroach upon the Chinese territory. And when I posed the question that no, our forces, they were in the barracks, and it was only when China deployed these forces, then we had to deploy our forces to counter the Chinese deployment. So, so this was one of the points, and another, of course, from the Indian side, we thought that the Chinese, they wanted to force this fait accompli on us, which was not acceptable, and especially the Chinese perception, in some of the points. Say, for example, the Y junction, where they had put a military post, and the areas, west to the to this Y junction military post. So they are being claimed by China, and if you see their claim line, it goes, along this the burst in a position, and along this you can say Dabuk Shok estuary, which they have also made it public. So I think this is the area which they are eyeing, around 38 square kilometer. And if you remember, in May 2023 also, so there was a proposal from the Chinese side to have a buffer, bigger buffer of almost 80 to 20 kilometers in this area, to which India objected. So I think these are some of the divergences, I would say the huge divergences in this area. But they are also aiding the viewpoint that, of course, some of the maybe social media posts in China saying that India has perhaps gained sort of like access so to various patrolling points, which was denied by the Chinese after 2020, in April 2020.
Yeah,
especially 0.5 patrolling points in Depsan, patrolling points 10, 11, 11A, 12, and 13, and then the two in Damchok area. So so this from Indian side, as it had been portrayed, is a big victory. But the Chinese, they're also not in the official media, but in social media by some of their experts who seems to be well aware about the terrain and also the maps and various lines, topography of the area. They are saying that perhaps India has also acceded to Chinese request in the eastern sector, especially in Yangtze waterfall area. Remember in 2022, so there were skirmishes in Yangtze sector also.
Yeah.
The Chinese, though not been acknowledged in the official discourse, but then off the record, so they are saying that yes, one Yangtze waterfall areas and another would be the upper Swansea area where perhaps the Chinese would have scored some of the points.
Mm-hmm. So the overall sense about India is positive, negative?
Overall, I think it's quite positive at this point in time, but there is you can say a pinch of negativity also. Positivity, in the context that both are huge countries, both are developing countries, both are huge markets, and then if they get together, no force in the world can stop them, and as was witnessed during the civilizational period, almost from our common era to 18th century, almost 50% of the global GDP was accounted by India and China. So these are things which they would bring in again and again. But the negative side is why India acceded this time to this kind of patrolling arrangement is primarily they see that India has a troubled relationship with the United States. India has troubled relationship with Canada. Its economy is not doing well, so on and so forth. But then I think some of the scholars, say for example, Zhang Qiatung from Fudan University in Shanghai, so he said that the deployment by both India and China, it was draining up the resources of both the countries. So I mean, there are positive views as far as this patrolling arrangement is concerned, and perhaps China wants to take the futuristic view of the relationship, and perhaps would like to go along with India as far as trade and various other things are concerned. But then there is a caution also in Chinese scholars saying that the kind of trust which was built during the period of equilibrium, so that has visibly been lost. And these skirmishes, whether it is Doklam, whether it is Galwan, these have eroded this trust, and perhaps it will take much longer time to rebuild that trust, and also for China to make decisions that for us investment in India is concerned.
So they are going to discourage investment in strategic sectors, or what is it?
I mean, China is open to investing in India, and the grievance that China has towards India is that the environment which should have been there to attract the Chinese investment, so it is not there, and the way post 2020, the way we blocked hundreds of their apps and subjected their investment to scrutiny, and even the cases against Vivo, Oppo, Xiaomi, so these have been highlighted in even mainstream media. So this perhaps has made China a little cautious as far as investment is concerned. But I think investment in lower end and medium and industries, so perhaps China would be willing to cooperate with India. But as far as I think high tech is concerned, because China itself would like to protect its industrial prowess or manufacturing capability in that sector. So perhaps won't be so much forthcoming as far as investment in these areas are concerned, because there are certain you can say arguments in Chinese academia which are discouraging Chinese investment in India, and examples are being quoted, say how America and Western countries propped up Chinese manufacturing, and when they realized that China has become too big to contain. Similarly, perhaps they wish not to prop up India's manufacturing so that it poses a challenge, for a rising China.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Let's come to Trump. How do the Chinese see Trump, and do they believe, was it ever conveyed to you at any point that they believe that India and Trump, since Trump is now in charge, could they be coming closer again? What's the sense?
Not necessarily. I think Chinese, they are very confident. They are very clear about, any American policy or strategy towards India or China. They know, after all, he's an American president. He would be looking after American interest rather than interest of Indian people, or Chinese for that matter, And it was, revealed by many academicians, in fact, in their writings also, that there is a bipartisan consensus in China as far as containment of China, by U.S. administration is concerned. So whether it was Biden or it's Trump, so they have to deal with it. Secondly, I think as far as these tariff hikes are concerned, so they are also apprehensive and perhaps getting to meet the challenge of tariff hikes. And they are expecting, as Trump have announced, that maybe 60% tariff would be imposed on Chinese products coming to United States. And these new energy vehicles, so they may even have more tariffs to the tune of 200% and even more to discourage Chinese products coming to China. But I think the Chinese, so they are also aware that the kind of de-risking or decoupling United States and other countries, so they have been talking about, it is impossible because they are very confident, and I think the figures and data, it favors them. For example, they talk about the manufacturing capabilities, production capacities China has built over the last 3 decades or so. They control almost 68% of the entire manufacturing of the world. So therefore, they are quite confident that America or any other country, they won't be decoupled from China. Yes, high tech and technology war, it could be there. America won't be supplying them state of the art. These you can say chips, which could be used for enhancing your military capability too. But apart from that, especially in the lower end and medium end, so China is a manufacturing prowess, and then it is the largest trading partner of many countries around the globe, almost more than 140. So there is a view in China, so that initially it used to be the United States and people had no other choice. But ever since the rise of China and China bridging its technological gaps, with Western countries, so China has offered itself as a second choice. So they have a choice, and perhaps especially the global South. So they have acknowledged this fact, and more people. So they are inclined towards accepting, the China's, you can say, technological prowess in various sectors, including agriculture. So China is confident of that, and also the kind of the trade they are having with various countries or region across the globe. For example, at one point in time, United States used to be the trading partner of China. But then over the period of time, so we have seen how ASEAN, so they have, trounced America or even Europe as the largest trading partner. So they are having trade volume of more than $1 trillion with ASEAN. So this is the kind of confidence that China, has gained, and they project themselves as an alternative, so to United States or the Western countries.
But during your stay there, did you get the impression the economy was on a sound footing? Was it going down? What did people talk to you about? What did they tell you?
I think, if you see the larger picture of Chinese economy, so it is a big economy. And whether it was during, you can say, Hu Jintao's time, and then, Xi Jinping's time, you see Xi Jinping's track record of, projecting China's growth rate and realizing it. So we'll see that, from a $12 trillion economy when he took over, so it has been, catapulted to almost $18 trillion. So it is a huge, it's a big economy. But of course, the Chinese people, so they are also, talking about economic slowdown, and especially the confidence of the Chinese people in their economy. It's not that China is not having money, or Chinese people not having money, entrepreneurs, they're not having money, but they have the money. In fact, in one of my discussions with one of the entrepreneurs, he said that, so they have the money, but then, since the confidence is not there, so they are, so not forthcoming to invest, the way it happened during deep globalization. But then, so they are also, aware of, the kind of problems, so they have been brought up by the real estate bubble bust, the kind of, you can say, for that problem it has created, not only for the central government, banks, but also for the local governments and for the people also. Many middle class people, they have parked their almost 70% of the saving in the real estate sector. So that was perceived as an area where you could witness massive growth of your investment. But that has slowed down. That has almost vanished. That is one of the areas where the Chinese people, so they don't have the confidence, because with this real estate industry, many other ancillary industries, whether it is home appliances or even the iron, steel, cement, various other industries, so they are interconnected with real estate. So that is a general slump in these areas, and moreover the investment, so which you can say had this massive growth, trajectory. So that is also disappeared, because the Chinese government investment, it is also slowing down, and also foreign direct investment in China, it has also seen decline of late. So therefore, so this is the general what you call trend in the society, where the young people, so they see that there is not enough social mobility. Unemployment rate they talk about is very high, especially among the working age group, say between 18 to 25, this group. So it is massive. According to Chinese figures, it was around 21%. That is very, very high. And
Yeah.
it maybe even higher than this. So these are, some of the issues which, especially the younger people in China, so they are discussing. And that is the so-called phenomenon of, lying flat among the Chinese young people. So they don't want to get married. They don't want to, buy cars, buy houses. So they just, so wanted to survive, so this phase. Unlike, the blue collar workers of the deep globalization who were willing to work harder, who were, used to this 996 work culture in China. The younger generation now, so they are not, copying that model of work anymore. So they are saying, enough is enough. We will have our own way, and let us see, when this phase gets over. But then I think they are again confident about China finding the way out of these problems. It is not that, so they have sunk so deep in depression that they think that, China's economy
everything is
is
lost.
No, I think they are hopeful, and they believe China is a big country, and the government has immense governance capabilities, so they would be able to pull out this kind of quagmire, maybe in certain years perhaps, and the stimulus which Chinese government has offered, perhaps so that will do a trick for the Chinese economy.
So, is there lack of confidence in Xi Jinping? Does his name ever come up in the informal discussions that you had? Are there doubts raised?
I think as far as leadership is concerned, so no, generally the Chinese people, they will not open up, about the political questions as directly as we are used to in this part of the world. But generally, I think the sense is that Xi Jinping has also realized that something is wrong, with the economy. So they are discussing it at various levels, be it, the Politburo meetings, or the State Council level, or, it could be demonstrated by the way, Xi Jinping has slightly taken a backseat, and Li Keqiang, the premier of the State Council, who used to be in charge of the economy, before, so he has been, given a lot more freedom to meet the foreign dignitaries and also, engage in negotiations, and so is the case with, various, you can say, other leaders in the provincial level. So I think there is a sense, so that something is wrong. So therefore, so recalibration, I think, is happening at various levels.
I want to bring in Elon Musk. He's got enormous stakes in China. He runs factories there. He is also apparently in line for a job in the White House. We keep reading reports about it even today. What did they think about Elon Musk and what he could do?
It's a very interesting question. In fact, some of the scholars, so they have mentioned about him and his very good relation with Xi Jinping and his investment in China, in the Tesla, is a big, you can say, investment from Elon Musk, and almost 50% of the total Teslas worldwide, so they are manufactured in China. In fact, some of the scholars, so they have talked about this Elon Musk effect, as far as ameliorating U.S.-China relations are concerned. So they see Trump, is very, very close to Elon Musk, or vice versa, and then I think if the news is to be believed that he's going to be in the core of Trump's governance efficiency, plan, how to enhance governance efficiency in United States. So therefore, Musk's his engagement with China, and he is quite happy, with the Chinese establishment, the kind of, maybe the favorable, conditions that have been offered to him by the Chinese regimes, including now these driverless, cars. They are being tested and tried in China. Initially, it was perceived to be simply no affairs, but now so they have allowed him to do so. So that is a ray of hope that Musk may mend the things between China and the United States. But there are other people, for example, Professor Xiaogong Qin of Shanghai Teachers Training University. So he believes that it would be wishful thinking if you see American people and American businesses, including strategists, thinking about how to you can say improve our relation with China, including one of the professors' argument that Trump assuming presidency in the United States, it will offer opportunity for China as far as the cause of national unification is concerned. Professor Xiao negates this point. He said that China should not be having a wishful thinking that Trump would give it on a platter to China. In fact, China should be concerned about that if it happens, and if China is a little misadventurous in this area, so then they should be prepared for being subjected to various sanctions by Trump, and it would make things worse for China. So there are, both you can say
diverse viewpoints,
arguments, given by various Chinese scholars, including Elon Musk's effect.
Okay, Deepak, we are nearly at the end of our conversation. So, last question. You're now back in India. Where do you see this India-China thing going? You expect the disengagement was a good deal done. Do you see political relations now moving forward? Is there a mood over there in favor of that?
Oh, yes, certainly. I think it is a welcome step. It was the hurdle for especially India to engage China. But since this has been done and the disengagement is complete, I think the rest of the things, they would be discussed at NSA level, as it was pronounced. And perhaps the investment policy, they would be looked into, and including the resumption of direct flights between India and China. This would also be taken up. So I think the mood in China is upswing, but at the same time cautious. And many people, especially
here, I would presume.
Yeah, especially the visa issues, it was taken up by most of the Chinese, that they find it extremely difficult, and some even aired that their passport is lying in Indian embassy for the last 1 year, and they have not been able to get it, neither travel to India, not to any other country. So they are hopeful that these hurdles they will go, and visa regimes they would be relaxed, and hopefully it will augur well for both the countries. After all, I think India and China, so they are huge markets, and there are great potentialities and commonalities, and both perhaps would like to take the development, as President Xi Jinping says, that it is the biggest denominator between India-China relations. If both have realized that development is the biggest denominator, I think this is going to augur well for both India and China.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt in India on that score, but let's see, looking forward how things pan out. Deepak, great talking to you, and nice to get a perspective from China on how they see us and, of course, Trump. Thank you very much. Looking forward to more such conversations going forward.
Thank you, Surya. It was a pleasure talking to you.
So that's all we have for you on this edition of The Gist. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on social media. Thank you very much. Good day.